Also, it's narrated that he would like to hear hadith with chains, with the full chain of narration. Now, I was not sure when I was reading this that what this is referring to. It could be referring to two things. It could either mean that if somebody narrated a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, he wouldn't just accept that, oh, the Prophet ﷺ said that, but he wants to hear that he heard it from such and such, who heard it from such and such, who heard it from such and such, who heard it from such and such, and so on and so forth, until he heard it from the Prophet ﷺ. In other words, the full chain of narration. This is one meaning. Another meaning is that he didn't like to hear hearsay. So if somebody came to him and said to him, oh, for example, Richard the Lionheart is sick, then he won't just accept it. He'll say, okay, where did you hear it from? You'll say, I heard it from that person. Where did he hear it from? He heard it from that one. And this type of characteristic is very important, for somebody who one day might find himself as an Amir, or even as an ordinary Muslim. It's very important, because you can create a lot of fitna and fasad and corruption by not verifying reports. One day some brother might come to you and say, oh, that brother, that brother, I saw him going out with a sister, on the street. And then you become angry, so, astaghfir, and that sister, she wasn't wearing hijab and so on and so forth, and that brother, he becomes, really angry, and he goes, astaghfirullah, I didn't expect somebody like that to do that. And he goes to that brother and he goes, how dare you go out, with this woman who is not covering herself, and you should be ashamed of yourself. But if he had found out, maybe he would have found out that was his sister who's not practicing, for example, or something like that. So always, to verify the reports, and to find out, where did you hear that from? Did you hear that yourself? Did you see the brother do it yourself? Oh no, somebody just told me that he was listening to music. I didn't actually see him myself, but I just heard it. And you go to that guy, brother, did you hear him? No, I didn't see him, but somebody was saying that, people were saying that. No. Where did you hear it from? And if you can't verify the report, leave it. Also, one of the scholars, he said, or one of the narrators about his life, he said that I never saw him praying fara'id, obligatory prayers, except in jama'ah. Except in jama'ah. That I would never see him praying except in congregation. And this is something which is not easy. This is something which is not easy. Most of the Muslims, even practicing Muslims, they can't keep something like this up. And even the Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned that, that this is a type of ribat, this is a type of guarding the frontiers as well. That making wudu, taking many steps to the mosque and waiting for one prayer after the next. And this is something which most people, they cannot do. But, we find extremes. On one hand, we find brothers who they might be enthusiastic about jihad and so on and so forth, but they don't have this love for the salah. And on the other hand, we find brothers who have this love for the salah, but they're not interested in jihad. So, for you, be the winner. Don't look at those brothers who are interested in jihad and they don't follow this up, or those brothers who are into the salah but they don't follow the jihad up. You try to be a winner. Salahuddin, he took both. He took his, he did his ribat in the mosques, and he did his, guarding the frontiers in the mosques, and he guarded his frontiers on the front lines of the Muslim borders. As for the death of Salahuddin, it was in the fortress of Damascus after Fajr on Wednesday, the 27th of Safar, the month of Safar, the year 589 Hijri Islamic calendar, which corresponds to 1193 Christian era, at the age of 55. And Abu Ja'far al-Qurtubi, he said that he was reciting the Quran and he completed reciting the verse, Huwa Allahu alladhi la ilaha illahu alimul ghaybi wa shahadati huwa ar-Rahmanur Rahim, which is Surah Al-Hashr, verse 22, which means that He is Allah besides whom there is no other God, alimul ghaybi wa shahada, the knower of the unseen and the apparent, huwa ar-Rahmanur Rahim, He is ar-Rahman, He is ar-Rahim. And then I heard Salahuddin say Sahih, correct. When Salahuddin heard these verses, he said correct, that this is correct what Allah is saying. And before that, he was like on his deathbed, so his mind wasn't working. So previously his mind wasn't like, was a bit absent. But when he heard these verses, it was as if his mind, came back into action. He said Sahih is correct, and then after that he died. And he was buried in a place called As-Saffa. And the people, they said that they wept so much, that it was as if the whole world was weeping in one voice, in chorus. That is how much the people, they wept on the death of Salahuddin. And not only the Muslims, even his European enemies, even the Christians, the Crusaders, the ones who he had fought for many years, even they mourned his loss. You know, they were grieved when they heard of the death of Salahuddin. Why? Because they knew that Salahuddin, he used to always keep his word. He used to fulfill his covenant. If he made any agreement with the Crusaders, he would stick to it. He would never break his side of the agreement. If he promised them safe passage, they would be guaranteed safe passage. If he said nobody was going to, attack them in certain place, then nobody would attack them. He would keep his word. And unfortunately today, we find that even the ordinary Muslim, he can't keep his covenant. Even the ordinary Muslim, forget about the rulers, even the ordinary Muslim. You know, if you go to a shop, to buy something from an ordinary Muslim, the chances are that, he'll probably sell you a defective good. And he won't tell you the truth. It'll be a defective good, and he'll just try and say, yes, inshallah, mashallah, brother, don't worry, inshallah, there's nothing wrong with this, please, buy it. And he won't tell you. Or they'll break their promises. Like some Muslims, you hear some stories that one Muslim, he agreed to sell his house to another brother at a particular price. Price was fixed, everything. Then that brother who was buying the house, he's ringing that brother, he's saying, brother, we've agreed the price now, when are we going to complete the deal? And the brother's ignoring him and avoiding him. Then once he catches him, he finds out that after they had agreed the deal, after they had agreed the price, somebody else came to that Muslim and said to him, I'll pay you more for it. So he said, I'm not selling it to you anymore, I want to sell it to him. What type of fulfilling of the covenant is this? What type of truthfulness is this? But look at Salahuddin, as a Muslim ruler, even his enemies, they said that they were sad because of how truthful he was in fulfilling his covenants. And to end with, I will finish with the opening couplet of a poem by the scholar Ash-Shatani. And he made a poem about Salahuddin, and the first couple of lines are as follows. أرى النصر مقرونا برايتك الصفراء فسر واملك الدنيا فأنت بها أحرى. I'll read that one more time. أرى النصر مقرونا برايتك الصفراء فسر واملك الدنيا فأنت بها أحرى. Which means أرى النصر مقرونا برايتك الصفراء. That I see victory accompanying your yellow flag. Correct, Ya Ibn Abbas? Ya Ibn Abbas, correct? I see victory accompanying Rayatika Safra, your yellow flag. But is correct translation? Ara Nasra Makrunan Birayatika Safra. I see victory, wherever I see your yellow flag, maybe he had a yellow standard, a yellow flag. I see your yellow flag, wherever your yellow flag goes, I see victory coming next to it, side by side. In other words, wherever you go with your flag, victory comes with it, O Salahuddin. Wherever you go for battle, wherever you take your golden standard or your yellow flag, the victory is always there. I see the victory accompanies your yellow flag. فَسِرْ وَمْلِكِ الدُّنْيَا فَأَنْتَ بِهَا أَحْرَى. So go forth and possess the world. Go forth, O Salahuddin, go forth, set out forth and take the whole world under your possession. فَأَنْتَ بِهَا أَحْرَى. Because you are more deserving of it. You are the one who deserves to possess the world, in terms of the rulership on the earth. You are the one who is the most deserving of it. So, فَسِرْ وَمْلِكِ الدُّنْيَا. Go forth and own the world because you are more suited to it. أَرَى النَّصْرَ مَقْرُونًا بِرَايَتِكَ الصَّفْرَاء فَسِرْ وَمْلِكِ الدُّنْيَا فَأَنْتَ بِهَا أَحْرَى. And I would just like to finish with one thing, that many people, you hear them saying today, that, well, we need Salahuddin today, If only we had a Salahuddin today. Many people, you will hear them saying that. Some people, they say, it's my wish that we have somebody like Salahuddin today who will come and who will liberate Jerusalem just like that Salahuddin did it, for so on and so forth. And you might ask yourself that, where is the Salahuddin of today? I will say to the brothers that the reason you don't have a Salahuddin today, because if Salahuddin came today, nobody would follow him. Nobody would follow him, I guarantee you. If there was a man like Salahuddin today, and you can see with your eyes what happened, in the last, year, when certain personalities, they came up, who went to answer their call? Hardly anybody went to answer their call. So what do you think? Tomorrow when Salahuddin comes, the whole ummah will stand up and support him? No. That is why we don't have a Salahuddin today, because if Allah gives us a Salahuddin today, you know, we will not be there to back him up. And that is the reason we don't have a Salahuddin today. And when we'll be ready to back up such a person, then that person will come. And maybe some of those people are alive today, but the reason their name is not big is because the ummah is not, you know, has let them down and has deceived, you know, left them in the lurch. So may Allah have mercy on Salahuddin.